Weight loss as an investment. When it comes to weight loss, most people have a journey of fluctuating weight. That's how the body works. You're constantly losing, gaining. A lot of times it's very subtle for most people who maintain an average weight. But when it comes to long-term weight loss, larger deficits, the undulation can be a lot bigger. And some people can get into what they call yo-yo dieting, lose large amounts of weight, gain it all back. Lose large amounts of weight, sometimes gain a little bit more back, sometimes a lot more back. And it gets worse and worse the more people practice this habit. So when it comes to this, you have to understand that you want to get yourself into a place where your investments into this effort give you enough time to enjoy those efforts. What I mean by that is, if you were to invest in retirement starting at 20 and you had a consistent investment every month, every year, over time, that compound investment, that compound interest would net you a healthy retirement. I'm not an investment banker, so I can't give you specific numbers, but if you wanted to retire with $1 million in your bank account, you would have to start really early. If you wanted to get to that $1 million retirement fund, you wouldn't want to wait till you were like 52, 55 or something like that, right? You want to give that investment time to grow, time to breathe, time to shake off any volatility in the markets. If you invest in weight loss, if you invest in a deficit, you have to give yourself enough time. You have to give yourself enough time to make those adjustments, because that volatility that I mentioned in the market, you can liken that to the volatility that comes with day-to-day life. You're not always going to be able to eat the healthiest, or that's a relative term, but you're not always going to be able to make the best decisions for your goals. So you have to make adjustments so that when those times come, you can shake it off a little bit. You can adjust and get back on track and keep going towards your goals. So the more time that you give yourself to get to that goal, the more likely you're going to get there. If you wait too long, let's say you wanted to drop 30 pounds and you wanted to do it for the summer and you started in January, pretty reasonable goal. But if you kept offsetting your efforts, if you were doing pretty good, and then Thursday, Friday comes, oh, I messed it up, might as well just start over on Monday. Same thing, doing pretty good the next week, pretty good. Oh, somebody's birthday on Wednesday, I messed it up, might as well just start over on Monday. There's only 52 weeks in a year. There's only so much time that you have within the year to get to those goals. And that's not even including things like, when the holidays come, that's really difficult for most people to offset or to manage their caloric intake for whatever reason. It's a cultural thing. We've got the summer months with barbecues, cookouts, there's always birthdays there. There's always a reason to celebrate. So if you don't give yourself enough time to make those adjustments as you move along, you're never going to get to your goals. You're going to keep putting it off every year, and you're less likely to get to that goal if you have that mentality. Never mind that you're eventually going to run out of time. Let's say you keep doing this till you're 55, 56, and you're always carrying excess weight that you gained over time, and despite your best efforts, you don't lose it. Is it because you're not doing the right things? No, you're probably doing the right things. You're just probably not doing it consistently, and you're constantly going back to resetting. So eventually you're just not going to be able to get to that goal within the reasonable amount of time that you wanted. You wanted it to get to that goal for the summer. That's 3 years ago that happened all of a sudden, right? How many times have we had those type of goals? And I'm just as fallible and as guilty of that as anyone else. It takes some time to find your routine. But I think my overall point is that if you don't find the plan that works for you, if you don't stay consistent with something, you're never going to reach those goals. You're never going to get yourself in the right mindset, and eventually you're going to run out of time. As we get older, it gets more difficult to lose weight for a multitude of reasons. We get busier, we have more to do, more responsibilities, more social engagement, things like that. Also, we just have less energy. For some reason, as we get older, not for some reason, physiological reasons, but as we get older, we just start to lose energy. And I'll say that even though we do lose energy, it's not as much as people think. I think that the reason that we feel so down and fatigued, even me in my 30s, I'm like, oh my God, why am I so tired all the time? Part of that societal factors, you know, screens, social media, expectations, lack of sleep, all that stuff plays into it. So I think most people, yeah, we lose energy, but I think if we weren't as invested in, you know, society's expectations, we probably wouldn't be as bad, but it's another conversation to have. But it does get harder. It gets harder to stay on track. It gets harder to stay motivated. It gets harder to lose that weight. And then chances are we get to a point where we're actually gaining weight again, right? Because of the habits that we can't change, we refuse to change, we don't acknowledge. And that makes it more difficult to exercise too. You know, you have less energy, plus you have excess weight, and you have less sleep, less and more stress. You're not going to be as motivated. And let's say you finally do get motivated, you're going to get yourself to a place where like, all right, you're going to hit the ground running. You're going to, you know, get this workout routine in every single day of the week. You're going to run, you're going to lift weights, whatever. But your younger body on the inside is going, you can't do that anymore. And then you're going to get sidelined and you're going to be sore and achy and miserable. Never mind the soreness, but if you're carrying excess weight and you don't have the strength and the muscle mass to carry that weight, and you try to do dynamic things like jumping and running and, you know, things that put a lot of stress on the joints, you will more than likely get injured. Whether it's some kind of strain or just overuse, you're probably going to get injured. So never mind the soreness recovery, the injury recovery, you're going to get sidelined. And then of course we're older, so it takes us a lot longer to recover. So it just perpetuates this cycle that keeps us from staying motivated and being motivated, because we try to do too much. We don't give ourselves enough time to ease into things. And then as we get older, it just gets harder and harder. So a bit of a rant on that, but the sooner you start, the more prepared you are with some kind of plan of action, and the more effort you put into easing yourself into it and having that game plan play out with some patience, the more likely you will be to succeed. You have to take this approach with everything, with weight loss, with strength training, with life in general, right? You didn't go to college and just, you know, show up your freshman year and say, okay, I think I'm good. You know, I think I got what I need, you know, after the first semester. You have to give yourself that time. So make sure that you understand that time and effort are a big component of what it is that you need to consider, what it is that you need to plan out and map out and to make a part of your life. This is a lifestyle. This is a new way of approaching your life, kind of undoing some of those habits that you started with that got you to this unhealthier place. Happens to everybody, but now what are we going to do about it, right? So those are my words of encouragement and discussion. If you have any questions, let me know and we can continue that discussion.